Hello, it's Mr. Brunato here, and in this video tutorial I will give you a basic tour of the interface of Adobe After Effects, and I will also show you how to set up an Adobe After Effects composition. When you first open Adobe After Effects, basically you're faced with a whole bunch of windows. Some of them are more important than others, but the important ones are the project one that you see here, the composition. The timeline is fairly important. The effects and presets is something that you will use frequently. For the purpose of what we're doing, we're not doing a lot of stuff with text right here. You have a paragraph window right here, which I'll close by clicking on this. If I need to bring it up, I can go to the top and go Window, Paragraph, and bring it up again. But for this tutorial, I'll just close it for now. All right. Starting with Adobe After Effects is the starting point is starting with a new composition. A composition is just like the background in Adobe Photoshop in terms of where you're going to put all your things onto. All right. To start a new composition, you go to the menu and select Composition, New Composition, and you're faced with a whole bunch of different tasks. The composition name will be something that you will be working on, and in this case, it might be like chroma key. All right. The presets here are very important. If you're working with high definition video, you would want the HDTV setting. And the 1080 just means 1080 lines of resolution. If you look at the width and the height here, it matches the width and the height of high definition television, which is 1920 pixels by 1080 pixels. The 29.97 is the frame rate, and that's what generally video is shot at. All right, the time code, you'll want to start with the duration. The duration, you have to understand how the time code works. The first two numbers right here basically have to do with how many frames are in 1 second of video. In this case, it's 30 frames a second. So it counts up to 0 to 29 and then back down to 0 again. The next set of number is the number of seconds that is in the composition. These two numbers represent the number of minutes in the composition, and the last one, the hours of composition. Now, to type in the duration that you want, there's a quick and easy way of doing it. You can click and highlight it, and you can click 1.00.00, and that will give you 1 minute. There's 0 seconds and 0 frames. Okay, and press enter, and you can create your composition here. Now, I can backtrack right here by going to Composition, Composition Settings. I want to tell you about the background color. All right, the slider bar right here basically chooses all the different colors. And on the left-hand side, there's the intensity of each of the different colors. So for this particular composition, I'm going to choose a red background because it contrasts with green nicely when you're working with chroma key. And I'm going to select OK. All right, now I'm going to select OK, and now your composition is created. So across you have 1,920 pixels, and up and down you have 1,080 pixels right here. Much like Photoshop, you can see the alpha channel by clicking on this button right here, and you can see the transparent background. All right. Now, if you notice right here, the composition, which is that we just created, which I've called chroma key, is right here as well. I can create multiple compositions. I can go to the top, and I can go to File, New Composition, and I'll put down chroma key number 2. Okay, I'll keep basically the same settings and click on OK. All right. Now I can go back and forth between the compositions. Here's composition here's composition chroma key 2 right here. I'm going to want to work with composition chroma key 1 right here. I'm going to double check the settings, composition settings, and we have approximately 1 minute right here. All right, say OK. Now there's 3 ways of bringing in files that you'll be working with. You can either go to the menu and go File, Import, File. You can right-click here and go Import File, or you can click on the keyboard and go and click on Control-Alt. All right, and this brings me into the folder where all the files are right here. This file right here is a movie file, an MP4. We have a Photoshop file with the transparent background. We have an image file, which is a JPEG image. And we have an Illustrator file. So I want all of these to be brought into the composition. So I'm going to select them all and click on Open. All right, and now it imports all the files here. Now that I've imported the files, it's good practice to save it right away. Generally what you want to do is you want to save it into where you have your files. And in this folder right here, let's take a look. And this is where all the files are right here. We're going to save it into the same file. And I'm going to give the Adobe After Effects file a name of something that you're working on. Chroma key save. Okay, so when you look at it, everything is saved into the same files right here. The image files as well and movie file and the After Effects file as well. All right, back to After Effects. Now let's take a look at the bottom right here. We have a timeline. The timeline, basically have it set to 1 complete minute. I can either drag the composition, the movie file, right onto the composition, snap it in place, or I could drag it down to the timeline. But in this case, I'll drag it onto the composition right here. And you'll notice that we have approximately, you could look at the timeline shows up here, about 7 seconds of footage right here. Now, I can expand and contract the timeline right here using the mountains right here. And I can even expand it as far as frames of video. And I can backtrack on frames of video. If I want to edit it, I could even shave off one single frame. I can click on the end right there, and that's taken off a single frame. Or I could take out half of the video right here, go to the middle point, click on it, and drag backwards to the timeline right here until it disappears. Okay, and basically we've taken out that much video right here. All right, now the other things that you can bring in, let's take a look right here. All right, I'm going to bring in a Photoshop file with transparent background. So the garden gnome right here, and it has a transparent background. You'll notice a similarity between After Effects and Photoshop. The layers of what you're working with is actually in layers here. Okay, this is on the bottom, and the green garden gnome is basically on top. Okay, so it's like Photoshop in that regard. Okay, I can click on this right here, and I could shorten it. It'll default to a fairly long length, which is the length of the video that you did, and you can shorten it to however short you want it when you bring in an image file. Okay, same here with the image, which is a JPEG. I can bring it in. It defaults to the length of the whole video. I'm just going to shorten this up so it only lasts for part of it, like so. And here's the image right here. Here are the 3 images. I'm just going to move this off to the side so you can see the three images. And I can also bring in an Illustrator file. Click and drag that in, like so. So much like Photoshop, I can take a look at the timeline right here. The tent is on the top. I could move it behind the garden gnome by clicking, dragging it down right here. Okay, and it's moving behind layers. All right, Control S for which is the same as file save for good measure. It's saved into the same spot where you saved it originally. And there you have it, the interface in a nutshell in Adobe After Effects CS6.